Today, I will be interviewing Sue Klein. She has a quite large flock of both chickens and ducks with about 50 plus chickens and 30 plus ducks. She raises and sells their eggs at the local farmers market. She's been raising poultry for about 20 years and was selling eggs to friends and family. And within the last 7 years, has expanded and started participating in the local Sonoma County farmers markets. How did you start in the egg business?
Well, interestingly enough, it started with a move, and we had bought a small little property in the country. And at that time, we had wanted to get our daughter into 4-H. And so when we were living there, when we had first moved in, she was only of the age where 4-H would allow her to raise chickens. And so we started our flock with a single hen and a single rooster. And those were her 4-H chickens. And then slowly thereafter, our interest started expanding and we were gifted some Muscovy ducks. And at that point, we had caught the backyard barnyard fever, if you will. And so we just kept adding to our flock to what it is today, which is, quite larger, enough for to sell eggs at the farmers markets.
How are chicken and duck eggs different? What are the pros and cons of each one?
Great question. The duck and chicken eggs are significantly different. I feel like I have a niche of customers that really only that prefer the duck and only want the duck. But, honestly, my chicken eggs are my hot seller.
Sue mentions that there are some pretty large differences between chicken and duck eggs. Namely, that duck eggs are considerably bigger than chicken eggs, and they are almost double the amount of calories. They have a firmer shell. They have like a higher yolk to egg white ratio, which means there's a lot more yolk and a lot less egg white. This means that there's more fat in egg. This makes it a creamier and richer egg, which makes it better for baking. But this gives it some issues when scrambled. It becomes kind of powdery and grainy when scrambled. And so that is one big caveat for the duck eggs, is that while they can be a really good egg for baking and frying and any other way that you cook an egg, scrambling does not work very well for them. And so that is one aspect where chicken eggs really come out on top.
I did end up with some sick hens. I had come across them not feeling well. And then a few unfortunately had passed. And so I did end up taking one that wasn't looking so well into my veterinarian. And he did diagnose with the avian influenza in my flock. And so unfortunately, that is a tough decision for farmers when you have to cull part of your flock. My ducks were separate and did not end up coming down with the avian influenza, thankfully.
With a mortality rate of 75 to 100%, avian influenza is a dangerous disease, and there isn't much one can do for the infected birds. The best course of action is simply to cull the sick animals and quarantine the ones who could possibly be sick so the virus does not spread further.
It is sad and frustrating, but I was keeping a close eye on my chickens. They start having symptoms like where there's some purple coloration. And so I feel like being aware and keeping a close eye on my flock, I was able to get the outbreak under control.
Sue says eventually she would love to expand her operation to also raise quail. But for now, she is perfectly content raising her beloved chickens and ducks.